When Lazio and Roma square up to each other, Italy's capital city comes to a halt. The rivalry between these two clubs runs very deep indeed. And even though both sides are stuck in the middle of the table at the moment, the Olympic Stadium is awash with passion and tension this afternoon. Lazio started the season in some style, but 5 defeats in their last 10 games have clipped the wings, rather, of these players. The latest away to Inter a week ago, but there's only one change from that side. Maurizio Neri wears number 7. And it's the first game Karl-Heinz Riedler has played here for 6 weeks because of injury. Dino's off with a task here today of improving on the drawn games which have been the feature of these Rome derbies recently. As for Roma, well, they lost 3-1 here to Fiorentina last Sunday, and the goalkeeper Cervone was sent off in that game. Garcia for De Marchi at number 2. But Aldair, who missed another disappointment, the midweek exit from the Italian Cup at the hands of Sampdoria in the quarter-finals, he's back. And so too are Giuseppe Giannini and Ruggiero Rizzitelli. It really is time for Roma to improve their results. 4 games without a win, only 3 victories in the last 17. The football gossip here is that the coach, Ottavio Bianchi, may be on borrowed time. Today's referee, Lorista Foggia, and Lazio have a special cheerleader here. Paul Gascoigne has jetted in from London, taking time off from his recovery programme, which he hopes will eventually make him fit enough to satisfy Lazio's medical men, and in May complete his move here from Tottenham Hotspur. Both matches last season finished 1-1. That was the score when the teams met earlier this season. Riedler and Rizzitelli exchanging goals. And these matches usually start off really at an electric pace, and some of the early tackling, well, in the past it's made us wince. So Carbone with the throw for Roma. Looking for a long one. It went beyond Rudi Voller. And here's Di Mauro. Lazio a little slow to react. They've got an offside decision now. But this is no type of game at all in which to begin slowly and tentatively. Lazio began the season with such promise. They lost just 1 of their opening 12 games. But a succession of defeats recently now means they really have to perform solidly over the run-in to the end of the season to try and win a place in next season's UEFA Cup. Roma still in Europe. They play Monaco here in the quarter-final first leg of the European Cup Winners' Cup on Wednesday. And a foul by Carbone. Gabriele Pin, the captain of Lazio, number 4. Oh, and it's over the line and in, but the linesman is flagging. Riedler was the player who caused the confusion then. And then it rolled over the line off a Roma leg. Ruben Sosa was given a lot of time from the free kick to decide what to do. But Riedler coming round the back was offside. It would have been an own goal by Aldair. Well, that certainly stirred up the emotions here. Roma very relieved, and I must say, looking at with the benefit of the replay, Lazio very unlucky. Foggia. Here's Neri. Well, that's the type of tackling that one really came here to expect. And from the realms of rugby, Neri not too ruffled by Carbone's grabbing of his ankles. Di Maro, Hessler. Roma supporting well in midfield. Hessler. Stopped by Neri, who just filled in down the right-hand side for Lazio. But one would expect it to be a demanding afternoon for the referee, and these early stoppages, no surprise. Ruben Sosa, this time it is a goal! 4 minutes gone, and the Uruguayan, who will be well aware that there's an Englishman watching in the stands who might be challenging for a place amongst the foreigners for Lazio next season. But Ruben Sosa stakes his claim for future employment, and that left foot rarely fails him. Lazio 1, Roma 0. Ruben Sosa's 9th goal of the season. And Roma, who escaped only moments earlier, were cut apart here, and the finish was fast and furious. Well, it's what the game, looking at it from a neutral point of view, really needs, because once local derbies settle into a pattern, the fear of defeat is often so great that matches aren't quite as open as one would hope. But Roma now have to show some strength, otherwise points will be disappearing from them again, and local pride. Neri. Lazio cock-a-hoop at the moment. And in particular, Carbone is having a harrowing start to the match. Well, he will claim there that he got to the ball. And Ruben Sosa might just consider trying something audacious from this angle. Schiavone having to keep an eye on his left-hand post, but backing away to the other side of the goal. Riedler coming in. It was a chance. And Roma, well, they could have been completely knocked out of their stride had that gone in. Already 1 goal down, and looking very, very weak at the back. Doll. All the early life from Lazio here. Giannini. Fowler had taken up a position where he could be found, which is one of his many strengths. Carbone. That's neat play by Di Maro. Fowler running behind Bonacina, but Carbone trying to keep Roma going forward. That's skillful work from Neri again. And Ruben Sosa not allowed to run away then, after he'd been responsible for Carbone going down. Let's have another look at the heading chance for Riedler. All might have even gone in at the last, but Cervoni lying down, stuck up a hand, and Aldair completed the clearance. And there are two Lazio players down. One of them not for long, and now as Sclosa wants more protracted treatment, and he's not going to get it. It's a free kick to Roma. Rather like the London clubs in England, it's not been easy for the capital to claim the championship in Italy. Roma have won it twice, Lazio once. But whenever these two great rivals are in the same division, it really doesn't matter if they're tilting for the title. This is a major match. Hessler, who's only scored once this season, that was recently to equalise against Genoa, and it's a useful try here. Valerio Fiori, the 22-year-old goalkeeper, saw it coming. Aldair in some confusion there with Garcia, whose slip when Ruben Sosa got away to score was crucial. Lofted forward by Sclosa. Nela tidies up. Well, it was a South American who taunted Roma here last week. Gabriel Batistuta of Fiorentina scored twice and made the third in that 3-1 Fiorentina success. Was also the player who got through, and Cervoni brought him down and was sent off. And it's another South American here, Ruben Sosa, who's leading Lazio to so many good things at the moment. Here he is again, Garcia reining him in that time just. Quick free kick from Roma. Folla, Sclosa's tackle. Here's Neri, who's also looked most lively. He's taking on Nella, and still he goes on. I'm not too sure whether Ruben Sosa had run offside. It's Doll who finally fires at goal, and still Sosa was in a position that I think would have meant that the goal would have not have counted. Great work by Neri, but look at the number 11 in the centre there, who looked offside in that instant and was slow to come back here as Doll looked for the bottom corner. Rizzitelli impeded by Torino. Well, when Rudy Folla's out there, there's always a chance of an equaliser in a flash. Although his season, which began with injury, hasn't produced his normal prolific ratio. He's got 4 goals this season. It does make him Roma's leading scorer. They've not actually managed a goal a game, but they need a goal now. Carboni jumping with Neri, and it's a free kick to Roma. Lazio are the senior of the two clubs in terms of age and tradition. They were founded in 1900. Roma not for 27 years after that. Hessler's free kick. Oh, and Lazio with a case of too many cooks then. But eventually Fiori made up for the mistake. And it ends with a Lazio free kick. What is concerning for the Lazio fans is that only twice this season have Lazio gone through a league game without conceding a goal. And the last time that happened was at the end of October. This is Sklosa. Di Mauro matching him. Doll, who's fitted in very well in his first season in Italy. Oh, and Riedler with a back heel then, or a little back flick rather. And Roma had no answer. Paul Gascoigne must be admiring this from the sidelines and wanting to be part of it. Neri. And Ruben Sosa took it first time. And at times, well, Roma don't really know what day it is, as Lazio carve them open again. It's 1-0. It could easily have been 3 or 4. Bonacina. And Folla having to go the long way round. Help from Carboni. Pin is felled by Folla. He was entitled to go for it. And no hard feelings from Gabriele Pin. But it was more encouraging in terms of approach work before that from Roma. Roma were the holders of the Italian Cup, so their midweek defeat by Sampdoria will have hurt them greatly. They're looking towards Europe now. Once they can get this very awkward league game over, and at the moment they want to get it over quickly. They could be humiliated here. That's how good Lazio are at the moment. Well, Thomas Doll was the foreigner who was bought in something of an emergency after Gascoigne's injury last May in England's FA Cup final against Nottingham Forest. They're lining up again. Aldair intervened. It was Gregucci who headed a cross goal. Here's his opposite number, the Brazilian Aldair, venturing forward on the counter-attack and earning Roma a free kick. Foul from behind by Sklosa. Carboni. Lazio rather backing off him. Folla again making one of those clever runs, but again being forced to work very hard to get a sight of goal. He fouled, he got a bang in the face as well. And the only worry for Dino Zoff and his friends down on the Lazio bench is that it is only 1-0. They've played well enough to have put the game out of Roma's reach, even before half-time. Neri. Bonacina, the architect in this attack, but Roma don't get far enough. Now they fear the worst as Lazio sweep forward again. Neri claiming a hand was used then by Giannini. That's not the way the officials have seen it. And the outcome is a corner, not a penalty. Well, no wonder Nela and Cervoni are looking anxious. They're just hanging on here, 1-0 down. And Cervoni gets his free kick in any case. But with Gregucci coming up and Riedler so good in the air, Roma have not looked in control defending at set pieces. They haven't looked in control defensively for much of the half. Given the tensions of a derby, it's been very free-flowing, and most of it from the left to the right as we've looked. But Lazio rewarded only by the one goal. It came after 4 minutes, expertly taken by Ruben Sosa. Lazio 1, Roma 0 at half-time. Well, this huge crowd watching the second half get underway, with Lazio yet again appreciative here of their contributions from their foreign players. They've now scored 30 goals in the Italian First Division this season, and 23 of them have come from Riedler, Sosa and Doll. And from the Roma point of view, it can only improve in the second half. I mentioned in the first half that Lazio were the senior club in terms of age. Roma have had the better of the results. 45 wins to Lazio's 33. But if this was to be drawn today, the draws would actually take over as the most common result. If that's to be the case, Roma must show greater tenacity in their defending. And it's possible, of course, that they will pep up their attack. That was Andrea Carnevale showing signs of being required. And no end product here for Folla. And Carnevale just stretches his legs a bit more, as if to say, you do need me. Well, the referee taking issue with something that was said from the Roma bench. It wasn't Ottavio Bianchi who was the target of the referee's complaint, but I'm amazed that officials can hear anything. Such a cacophony here as the two sets of supporters battle it out vocally, as the two sets of players try and sort out the match on the pitch. Ruben Sosa was perhaps pulling Garcia, and it was Doll who looked to place the ball in. Roma feel that there was a foul then, with some justification. But it is a corner, and therefore had Doll done the trick here, Roma feeling he wasn't entitled to do that after Sosa had done some shirt pulling on Garcia. Well, that in the end was a definite chance. Riedler waiting in the middle, trying to time his run towards the ball. It's Gregucci who gets to it. It's closer, and this time it is a foul. Salsano also limbering up. Lazio still lead by a goal to nil. Folla testing out Torino. Carbone, but broken up by Solda, who gave away the penalty last Sunday, by which Lazio lost to Inter at San Siro. But here they're looking for what will be their first win over Roma in 7 derbies. We have to go back to the 88-89 season. And a goal from Paolo Di Canio, now with Juventus, did the trick. Well, Carnevale replacing Giannini. We've had 10 minutes of the second half. So it's a striker for a midfield player. Oh, Cavani started to come, it came off Neri. And Fell well for Roma. Rizzitelli, great tackle by Sklosa. Now Doll, looking to get the ball quickly. Not quite sure that's where he was aiming for. But Ruben Sosa for Pin, and Nela stretched again. As Lazio aiming here to restore their domination of the first half. Very thoughtful build-up, and Naylor in the end pleased to just concede a corner. Ruben Sosa will take it. And it was Neri's header that didn't trouble Cervoni too much. Rizzitelli. Good run outside him by Hessler. Di Mauro, just over an hour played. Falla. Lazio good enough in their own defending to see it out for a 1-0 win. The recent record of goals conceded suggests that they might not be. Rizzitelli, but if they play to their strengths here in attack, conceding one goal might not be a problem for them. They're good enough to score more for Dino's off. But this move now is of a cautious nature. Cristiano Bergodi, who is a defender, taking over from Sklosa. Sklosa has been limping, but that it's Bergodi rather than a similar player to Sklosa, like Stroppa, who's on the bench, suggests that Dino's off really, true perhaps to the Italian mentality, believes that his team can see it through at 1-0. Bergodi's header. Roma chasing the game. Here's Falla. Well, they forced him out of the penalty area. But Roma, in the end, lose the ball through Di Mauro's error, and Ruben Sosa is caught from behind by Gazia. And I must say, the referee in these circumstances is being very lenient. He definitely intended to bring him down then, and one would not have been surprised if the card had been shown. Ruben Sosa takes it all as an occupational hazard. And Thomas Doll will take the free kick. Lazio a little slow to react to his intentions, but maybe they're in position now. Carboni. Well, Lazio letting him run. But it ends rather tamely. Falla looking wearily away in disappointment. Nothing weary about Ruben Sosa, though. And Garcia being made to look like a novice at times. It's one of the great sights of the game. A player who can carry the ball and take on a whole pack of defenders, and to do it at such speed and maintain control. Ruben Sosa in irresistible form today. He's earned Lazio another free kick. They do deserve a second goal. Maybe this free kick will supply it. A bit of play acting here to try and get the wall disorganised. It is a corner. The delaying tactic almost paid off, just flicked maybe off Foggia. Corner the outcome, and Ruben Sosa wants to be involved in everything. Oh. Well, you do feel that there's going to be a chance at every dead ball situation. Roma not authoritative in their defending in the air. Cervone has looked anxious as well. Lazio, despite the demands of a derby and all the extra pressures, are putting on a stylish show here. But Roma have a throw, and Foggia, who is certainly needed in the centre, has the responsibility to hurl it long. That looked to me like an attempt to influence the referee and to simulate here a foul that certainly wasn't there in reality. Header down by Carnevale. Bonacina, Carnevale, was he blocked off the ball? The free kick is given. Bit of pushing there by Gregucci on the substitute, Andrea Carnevale. And the referee right to blow. And Fiori has got a pack of players in front of him. And you wonder whether he will be able to get a clear view of the ball. Hessler takes the free kick, and there's your answer. Roma are back in the match, a match that really should have been put way beyond them. It means so much to Roma that they've come from the bench to join in the celebrations. But Lazio lined it all up in such a way that Fiori, flying away to his right, didn't see the ball quickly enough. And after a Uruguayan had given Lazio the very least they deserved in the first half, it's the German Hessler who has equalised now. 1-1. It's a familiar story in these Rome derbies, but it doesn't here tell the whole story, not by any means. Roma should have been dead and buried. And now, who knows? They might be capable of turning it round completely. So the equaliser with 20 minutes to go, and completely flattening the Lazio supporters. Rizzitelli. So Carnevale justifying his inclusion in the second half by earning the free kick. And Ottavio Bianchi, a very beleaguered coach here with Roma, will be feeling somewhat better. The main hopes for their season resting now totally in the European Cup Winners' Cup, but really they can't afford to lose to Lazio. Hessler's corner, away by Neri. Neat work again from Ruben Sosa, and again Doll, his partner in crime now. Well, Lazio have lost some of the impetus of the attack, but they haven't lost the ball. And so yet again, Fiori's attempts at a shutout have been frustrated. We're into the last 10 minutes. While the passion hasn't prevented a fine game of football here. Foggia. The whistle has gone, but it's not going to be in Roma's favour, I don't think. Well, I suppose many of the spectators would have come here today saying it was going to finish level. But there's no collusion in that respect. Anything but. Roma are to make a second change. And so to a Lazio. Piacentini coming on for Roma. And Giovanni Stroppa, the former Milan player, will play out the last 8 minutes here in Lazio's colours. Hessler comes off. And it's Thomas Doll who leads for Lazio. And this may suggest that both teams will in the end, perhaps a little earlier than in contests against teams from outside the capital, might settle for it staying this way. Lazio will rue, though, the way the game, or the extra point, shall we say, has been taken from them. Stroppa, who is a midfield player with a penchant for attack. He hoped to get a corner out of that, but all he's got is a throw. The other substitute, Bergotti, a tall figure who's picked up 1 or 2 goals in the past, up at set pieces, waiting in the middle. That was Gregucci who had the shot. Solda covering at the back. Well, both matches last season finished as 1-1 draws, and we're not long away now from the same thing happening this season. The computer, which is not known for its reliability in the possession statistic, suggests that Roma have slightly had more of the ball. I wouldn't think that the computer has been watching the same game, really. Lazio very dominant in the first half. Roma have done better since they equalised. And now they have a corner, and maybe the opportunity to really sting Lazio right at the last. They're looking on with great expectation here, the supporters of the team in red and yellow. But the light blues have survived perhaps the last crisis. Certainly been an interesting spectacle for Paul Gascoigne to observe, to increase his knowledge of how the game is played in Italy and how important it is to take your chances when you are on top. That really has been lacking from the Lazio point of view. Remember that Lazio had a goal ruled out somewhat controversially even before Ruben Sosa scored after 4 minutes. But Roma, to their credit, have stuck at it. And there might yet be some joy for them. Solda and Fiore had to be on each other's wavelengths then. The game is over, and if you'd wanted to have a small wager on the outcome, you might have picked this scoreline. But the story of the game, really one of Lazio playing very well indeed, taking the lead through Ruben Sosa, but allowing Roma, with a free kick from Thomas Hessler, to earn their point. Lazio 1, Roma 1. Milan had reached the semi-finals of the Italian Cup in midweek at the expense of Torino. Perhaps their minds not totally readjusted to league action. Atalanta's Bianchesi breaking through, goalkeeper Rossi not risking a red card. The league leaders behind at San Siro after 8 minutes. Frank Rijkaard led the Milan response to that, and Atalanta was soon pressed into their own penalty area. Ruud Gullit causing the confusion this time, Daniele Massaro so close to levelling the score. And here it seemed Milan must equalise. All eyes on the ball and the referee missing a foul on Marco van Basten as Biliardi comes to Atalanta's rescue. But Biliardi's afternoon was to disintegrate after that. First of all, he clashed with Van Basten, and this time a penalty was given. Van Basten's 8th successful shot from the spot in 9 attempts in the league this season. 2 minutes later, the Dutchman struck again, a strange goal too. In concentrating on keeping the ball down, his effort bounced extravagantly and left Peron diving in despair. And Marco hadn't finished yet, as Biliardi dithered on the ball, his 3rd hat-trick in 5 league appearances. That's phenomenal in Italy, and this one in 6 extraordinary minutes. Diego Fuser gave a dynamic display as a second-half substitute, showing a special understanding with Gullit. Peron replied with several splendid saves. A fierce drive now from Diego Fuser. Roberto Donadoni was caught up in the same mood, but for marksmanship, no one could rival Marco van Basten. 20 goals now this season. He is one major difference between Milan and their closest challengers, Juventus. But Roberto Baggio has hit a rich vein of form to increase the output in front of goal of Trapattoni's team. Baggio steering Juventus into a 15th-minute lead. In the second half, he threatened again as Casiraghi connected cleanly with his header. Genoa goalkeeper Braglia beating Baggio to the ball. Genoa with their minds perhaps on the forthcoming UEFA Cup clash with Liverpool. Braglia kept busy by Schilacci. Branco's free kicks always a possible way back into the game, but Genoa's hopes were demolished by 2 Juventus goals in the last 5 minutes. Baggio's second of the game to make it 2-0, 10 for the season from him, 8 of them in his last 11 matches. And then his ability to hold the ball up allowed Paolo Di Canio the luxury of striding forward with plenty of freedom. His shot deflecting in off Ferroni, and Braglia left stranded. Branco then produced one more memorable set piece. His duels with Bruce Grobbelaar should be spectacular. Juventus comfortable winners as Genoa head for the UEFA Cup quarter-finals. Napoli had won 4-1 at Ascoli in October. They went one better in their own San Paolo stadium. Some glorious goals too, starting with Careca's 12th of the season. At 31, he's still a formidable forward. Michele Padovano followed Careca's example, 2-0 to Napoli after 16 minutes. The third goal less well-defined, De Napoli's attempt falling for Francini to follow up and roll past Laurieri. 3-0 at half-time. In the second half, Menno Laschina's midfield skill and Trollio's cross produced another eye-catching moment from a Napoli player. Unfortunately, an own goal. Ciro Ferrara, the culprit. Trollio working hard again here, tenaciously, until Galli made sure there was no further embarrassment for the home team. 4-1 on the hour, Padovano exploiting a soft centre in the Ascoli defence, his second goal of the game. And Napoli made their tally 5 for the first time this season. Alamao allowed to line up his shot. Despite their defensive frailties, Ascoli kept going up front. Bruno Giordano so unlucky here, and the crowd rose to the striker who led Napoli's attack in the championship triumph of 5 years ago. But it's surely relegation for Giordano and Ascoli now. Sampdoria and Parma both made it to the semi-finals of the Italian Cup in midweek. Parma had 1 day less to recover, and though Agostini threatened Sampdoria from time to time, that told in the end. Fausto Pari bursting through in this attack, Roberto Mancini taking over, and Taffarel making the save look easier than it was. Parma's Brazilian goalkeeper is a mixture of the superb and the strange. Look at his unusual positioning here. Lombardo given so much of the goal to aim at, but somehow Taffarel a magnet to the shot. So still 0-0. Georges Grun for Parma providing Quoggi with a chance, Pagliuca putting him off at the crucial moment. Into the second half, Ozio's low free kick cleverly met by Agostini, Pagliuca there again for Sampdoria. But with 23 minutes to go, Taffarel really tossed the ball and the game away. Benarivo given no chance to control it, and nor was the goalkeeper by a brilliant shot from Orlando, who spent most of the season on the bench. Typical of Taffarel, he then saved a Mancini penalty after a foul by Minotti on Lombardo. But his positional play opened to criticism again as Mancini made amends deep into stoppage time. Parma's 7-match unbeaten run is over. Sampdoria 12 games without defeat as they resumed their European Cup campaign away to Anderlecht. On the other hand, Foggia have been flagging 6 games without a win. Torino with 5 victories in their previous 6 matches. Foggia's reserve goalkeeper Rosin soon put under pressure by Pollicano. Mancini the first choice suspended. Rosin looking capable again. But he was beaten after 43 minutes. Padolino's header retrieved by Martin Vasquez. Petrescu panicking, and the Spaniard sent flying by the Romanian. Belgium's Enzo Schifo spot on with the penalty. Rosin red-faced here in the second half, lucky to survive kicking the ball against Bresciani. Igor Kolivanov spared Foggia's blushes with his first league goal in Italy. He arrived in November from Dynamo Moscow. 1-1. Either side could have won it after that, Foggia keeping out Annoni's effort. And then Petrescu and Padolino, a tale of 2 headers which didn't have a happy ending. Foggia won, Torino won. Cagliari against Verona, a critical fixture in the fight to avoid relegation. The first goal crucial, and what a crazy one it was for Cagliari. Gaudenzi's goal-bound header blocked by a teammate, Napoli, only for the ball to bounce in off Verona's Rossi. Gaudenzi got his own reward right on half-time, first to Fonseca's corner, 2-0 to Cagliari. Set pieces very much to the fore for the Sardinian side. Fonseca's clever work from a short corner, and though Napoli's header didn't produce a goal, he gobbled up the second chance, 3-0 after 53 minutes. Verona's only opportunity from one of their corners. Pin heading across goal, Renica coming close. But Cagliari made the most of another dead ball situation. Enzo Francescoli with a fine free kick for their 4th goal, by far their biggest win of the season, casting grave doubts over Verona's ability to survive at this level. David Platt boosted Bari with his return. Against Cremonese, he'd missed 2 matches with a damaged ankle. Defending his first priority, Cremonese made a good start. Floriancic with an overhead kick that went over the bar. But Bari behind after only 8 minutes. Desotti's cross and Floriancic finding the back of the net this time. Cremonese dangerous again in the second half. Montofano coming close. But after 63 minutes, Bari got the better of Cremonese's goal-scoring goalkeeper, Rampula. Good work by Giampaolo. Soda miskicking, but Boban with an aim that was true. And Bari clung on to their point thanks to Alberga's stop from Gian De Biaggi. Bari 5 matches unbeaten now, survival still in their sights. Finally to Florence, where Gabriel Batistuta has been in brilliant form. Perhaps Inter were concentrating too much on the Argentinian here. Iachini not picked up. It could have been a very costly error. Inter scored first, a brilliant goal too. Bianchi's crisp cross, Baggio's header, and Quantolan's flying finish. Wonderful football. Fiorentina needed to find something extra in the second half, and the blonde Iachini, who's just agreed an extension on his contract, became the major figure. After that near miss, he didn't hesitate as Inter appealed for handball against Batistuta. The goal given, but the replay confirms that it was an injustice. Batistuta guiding the ball forwards with his right arm. The defenders expecting a whistle which never came, Iachini simply got on with the job. After that, Facenda very nearly squeezed this header beyond Walter Zenga for what would have been a winning goal. And Riccardo Ferri lined up this shot for Inter, but it stayed Fiorentina 1, Inter 1. Fiorentina remained 12th. Ascoli rooted to the bottom of the table, but Cagliari have leapfrogged over both Bari and Verona after thrashing Verona 4-0. Remember their great escape last season. Bari much improved too in 1992. At the top, Torino move up to 4th, Sampdoria now 6th, but still the 4-point cushion keeping Milan above Juventus with reasonable comfort. But next week the league leaders have a difficult match away to Parma, where they lost last season 2-0. Juventus are at home to Napoli, which also won't be easy. Marco van Basten is 8 ahead of Carreca now in the scoring charts, and he set a new personal best by reaching 20 goals. He finished the 88-89 and the 89-90 seasons with 19 each time. Any hat-trick in the Italian league is a major feat, but 3 within 5 league games is phenomenal. An unstoppable striker in an unstoppable side.